At Christmas, Mom handed out envelopes. My sister got $8,000 cash. My brother got a new laptop. She handed me a card that said, "Your gift is knowing we love you." My daughter started crying. I put the card down, picked up my daughter's coat, and said, "Then keep it." I removed myself as co-signer on every loan that night. By January 2nd, 3 missed mortgage payments. At Christmas, my mom handed out envelopes. My sister got $8,000 in cash. My brother got a brand new laptop. She handed me a card that said, "Your gift is knowing we love you." My daughter started crying. I put the card down, picked up my daughter's coat, and said, "Then keep it." We were out the door before anyone even processed what I'd said. That night, after I tucked my little girl into bed, I sat at my kitchen table, logged into every bank portal I had access to, and removed myself as co-signer on every single loan with their names on it. By January 2nd, they had 3 missed mortgage payments on record. My name is Joseph. I'm 38, live in Columbus, Ohio, and I work as a customer support specialist for an international company that sells food products. Fancy way of saying I spend 8 hours a day on a headset explaining shipping delays and broken jars of pesto to people who think shouting makes trucks move faster. I'm also a single dad. My daughter, Mia, is 9. She's small for her age, big, dark eyes, and a habit of drawing tiny details into everything. Little curtains in the windows of her houses, extra stars in the sky, she whispers when she's excited instead of yelling. Her teachers call her thoughtful. My parents call her sensitive in that tone that means too much work. I have shared custody with my ex-wife, Jenna. We get along fine now. It took therapy in some ugly years, but we figured out how to be decent co-parents. She knows my parents. She knows what they're like. We've both spent years trying to convince ourselves they're just old-fashioned and bad at expressing feelings. They're not. They're just selfish. And for a long time, I was their favorite tool. It started small, the way it always does. My dad lost his job when I was 27. I had just gotten my first real promotion, customer support specialist level 2. Higher pay, small bonus. My parents called me, voices shaky, and told me the bank wouldn't approve their refinance without another signature. "It's just a formality, Joey," my mom said. "We need your name on the mortgage for the paperwork. We'll still be making the payments. You know we're responsible." I signed. A year later, my sister, Amanda, wanted a new SUV for the kids. Her husband's credit was a mess from old medical bills. Mine was clean, just co-signed for the loan. My dad said, clapping me on the back like that made it less serious. Family helps family. I signed. Then it was the HomeFlex line of credit for renovations, the store card for emergencies, the joint savings account so we can move money easily for bills. Every time, there was a reason, an emergency. A promise it was temporary, a reminder of everything they did for me when I was a kid, like feeding me and letting me live in their house. Somehow, I ended up attached to their mortgage. My parents' HomeFlex line, my dad's truck loan, Amanda's SUV, and I was making temporary payments on at least 2 of those every month. Meanwhile, Mia was getting dollar store dolls for Christmas, while my sister's kids got gaming consoles and name-brand sneakers from the same grandparents whose bills I was quietly covering. There were little slights against Mia long before the envelope Christmas. I noticed them. I just kept swallowing them, like the year she spent 3 evenings drawing this detailed picture of my parents' old house for my mom's birthday. She added, "Flowers in the front yard and little bricks on the chimney." My mom glanced at it, said, "Oh, that's nice," and then spent 10 minutes crying over some generic candle set my brother bought from a department store. Or the family photo session, where Mia and I got told to sit on the side so the real grandkids can be in the center. My mom laughed when she said it. "You know what I mean, Joseph. The ones that live close by. Don't be dramatic." Or the way she'd introduce Mia to people as Joseph's little one instead of my granddaughter. Every single time, Mia noticed. Of course she did. Kids always do. She'd ask small things like, how come Grandma hugs Noah longer than me? Or, why does Grandpa always forget my favorite color? I'd make excuses. They're old. They're tired. They don't mean it like that. I should have stopped making excuses years ago. Financially, it was worse. When my parents fell behind on the mortgage, they called me before they called the bank. Joey, we're just a bit short this month, my dad would say. Can you cover it, and we'll pay you back when my overtime kicks in? Overtime that never seemed to show up. So I'd log into the joint account we used for family bills and transfer $1,200 or $800 or whatever they needed. Every time, it was the last time. I paid off $3,500 on the truck when it was about to get repossessed. I covered Amanda's SUV payment twice so they wouldn't mess up her credit. I ordered new kitchen cabinets on my card because my mom said her drawers were falling apart and she couldn't stand the shame of hosting with a broken kitchen. Meanwhile, I was telling Mia, not this month, when she asked about trying gymnastics or a weekend art class. I kept spreadsheets. That's how bad it got. I had an Excel file labeled Family Help with dates and amounts. By last December, the total was just over $42,000. $42,000. No formal agreements, no interest, no timelines. Just family helps family, and me as the walking emergency fund. And somehow, I was still the one who never visits enough and acts distant. They started punishing me after I finally said no. Last summer, my parents called to ask if I'd co-sign yet another loan, this time for a small cabin by the lake, a family investment. We'll put your name on the deed, my dad said, like that was a prize. Something to leave your kids someday. I told them no, flat out, no excuses, no softening. I can't tie myself to anything else, I said. I have Mia to think about. I'm already on your mortgage and truck and home flex. My mom went quiet and then said, we know you're doing well, Joseph. It's not like you have a real family to support. It's just one kid. That stuck under my skin like a splinter. After that, things shifted. Little digs about me being selfish, jokes about me forgetting where I came from, passive-aggressive comments about some people who let money go to their head. They didn't ask for cabin money again, but they never forgot the no. Christmas was their stage. We drove over to my parents' house on Christmas Eve around 4 p.m. Snow was coming down in slow, heavy flakes, the kind that looked pretty from the warmth of a car and miserable from a bus stop. Mia sat in the back seat, hugging a shoebox she'd decorated herself. Inside was a little clay ornament she'd made in art class and a handwritten note. Thank you for being my grandparents. Love, Mia. She'd practiced the letters 3 times before she was happy with them. Do you think Grandma will hang it on the tree every year? She asked. I hope so, I said. I think she will. I didn't believe it, but I couldn't bring myself to crush that hope. Inside, the house looked the same as always. Same artificial tree they've had since I was a teenager. Same lights with whole sections burned out. Same chipped nativity set missing one wise man. Smelled like ham and furniture polish and too much perfume. Joseph, you made it, my mom said, kissing the air next to my cheek. She gave Mia a quick squeeze without bending down. Hi, sweetheart. Like she just remembered she had a script. My sister's kids, Noah and Bella, were already running around in matching pajamas. My brother, Mark, was crowding in by the kitchen island, laughing loudly at something my dad said. There were presents piled under the tree, color-coded ribbons and all. My mom loved the show of generosity, cared a lot less about what was actually inside. We ate dinner, ham, boxed mashed potatoes, overcooked green beans. My dad told the same story about meeting my mom at a county fair. Amanda complained about gas prices. Mark talked about his new gaming PC. Mia sat quietly, hands folded in her lap, answering questions when people remembered she was there. Still like school? Still drawing? No boyfriends yet? Noah teased. She's 9, I said. Kids grow up fast these days, my mom muttered. I should have left after dinner. I felt the tension crawling up my spine like a warning, but I stayed because I still had this stupid, stubborn hope that maybe, just maybe, they'd show up for Mia this time. I was wrong. After dishes, my mom clapped her hands and announced, "Okay, envelope time." She said it sing-songy, like some game show host. She sat in her armchair with a neat stack of red envelopes on her lap. My dad stood behind her, smug, swirling his drink. Everyone gathered in the living room, the kids bounced on the couch. Someone pulled out a phone to record. I knew the routine. Every year, my mom liked to give out special gifts to the adults instead of junk. Some years it was vacation vouchers. Once it was stock in a company my dad swore was about to explode and promptly tanked. Usually, it was cash. Ladies first, she said. She handed Amanda the first envelope with a little speech about how proud she was of the way you take care of your family. Amanda opened it and gasped. Actual gasp. "Oh my God, Mom. Seriously?" She pulled out a thick stack of bills. "There's 8 grand in here." My mom smiled like she'd just been nominated for sainthood. "Well, you've had such a hard year with the kids. You deserve it." Then she turned to Mark. "You've been working so hard, too, with your side projects." She handed him a box, not an envelope. He ripped the paper off and lifted the lid. "Wow!" He stopped himself, glancing at the kids. "Is this the new X Series laptop?" "Top of the line," my dad said, grinning. "Figured our boy needed proper equipment." The room buzzed. Compliments. Jokes. "You're so spoiled." "Man, I need parents like yours." Amanda hugged my mom. Mark hugged my dad. I stood there next to Mia, my hands starting to sweat. Then my mom looked at me. "And Joseph," she said, "your turn." She picked up a plain white card, no envelope, just a basic card with a snowman on the front and a gold sticker. She handed it to me, almost dainty like it might break. I opened it. Inside, in my mom's neat handwriting, were 5 words. "Your gift is knowing we love you." That was it. No gift card tucked inside. No cash. No key to a car. Just that sentence. For a second, I thought maybe there was something taped to the back, a joke, a check, something. Nothing. I felt my face go hot. My ears rang. The room got weirdly sharp and blurry at the same time. Behind me, someone exhaled. The TV hummed softly in the background. Mark laughed under his breath. "I mean, knowing you're loved is priceless," he joked. A few people chuckled. Mia tugged my sleeve. I looked down. Tears were already sliding down her cheeks. She was trying to wipe them away fast so no one would see. "Daddy," she whispered, "why didn't Grandma get you anything? Did we do something bad?" Something in me cracked. I took a breath. My hands were shaking, but my voice came out steady. I closed the card, set it back in my mother's lap, and picked up Mia's coat from the back of the chair. "Then keep it," I said. Just that. No yelling, no speech, no scene. The room went silent, like somebody hit mute. "Joseph, don't be dramatic," my mom said, clutching the card. "It's symbolic. You know how much we do for you." I helped Mia into her coat. She was sniffling, trying not to sob. I grabbed our bag from the corner. "We're leaving," I said. "Come on, sweetheart." "Noah, go give him your old tablet," my dad blurted. "He's in a mood." I didn't look back. As we walked to the door, my mom called after us, "You're ruining Christmas for everyone." I almost laughed. For everyone, not for the 9-year-old they just humiliated. We stepped out into the cold. The air hit my face like a slap. In the car, Mia cried quietly into her scarf. I drove. I didn't put music on. I didn't say much. My fingers were clenched so tight on the steering wheel that my knuckles hurt. All I kept thinking was, they really did it. They really used my love for them, my money, my time, and still decided I was worth a Hallmark sentence while they handed out $8,000 like party favors. And they did it in front of my child. That was the part I couldn't forgive. Back at my apartment, I shifted into autopilot. I got Mia into her pajamas, made us hot chocolate from the cheap mix in the cabinet, and let her open the present from me I'd been saving for Christmas morning, a set of good-colored pencils and a stack of new sketchbooks. She traced her fingers over them like they might disappear. "I love them," she whispered. "Thank you, Daddy." "You're welcome, Bug." We watched a late cartoon until her eyes got heavy. When I tucked her in, she hesitated. Grandma really loves us, right? She asked. She just forgot? My throat tightened. I thought about the envelope, the $8,000 in cash, the laptop, the card with its empty little sentence. I thought about my spreadsheets. $42,000. I thought about every time my parents had told me Mia was too sensitive, too emotional, too much. I couldn't lie anymore. I think, I said slowly, Grandma and Grandpa don't know how to be kind in the way you deserve, and that's not your fault. It's theirs. She frowned, processing that. Do we have to go back? She asked. No, I said. We don't. She nodded, like she was filing that away in her brain. Okay, she said. I kissed her forehead and turned off the light. Then I went to war. I'm not a dramatic person. I don't make threats. I don't throw scenes. What I do have is a decent understanding of money and systems, and the kind of stubborn that wakes up once every decade and refuses to go back to sleep. I sat down at the kitchen table with my laptop, opened it and pulled up my family help spreadsheet. 42,000 and change glared back at me. Tabs labeled mortgage, truck, home flex, SUV. Instead of feeling guilty like I usually did, I felt stupid, exposed, like I'd been walking around for years with a sign on my back that said, "Use me." I opened the site for Midwest Credit Union where my parents' mortgage lived. Log in, my email, shared account, two-factor text code, dashboard, primary borrower, Edward Miller, co-borrower, Joseph Miller. I'd barely skimmed that part when I signed, honestly. I was young and flattered they trusted me. Next payment due, December 28th. Status, delinquent, 2 payments past due. Of course, they hadn't told me that part. I clicked through the options until I found account maintenance. There it was, request removal as co-borrower/co-signer, subject to lender review and remaining borrower's qualification. I read the disclaimers. Read them again. They made it clear. I couldn't just click a button and vanish. The bank had to approve. My parents might have to refinance. It could take time, but there was also a note. You may request immediate restriction of your personal accounts from being used for payment on this loan. That at least I had control over. My checking account was listed as an authorized payment source. I clicked remove. It asked me if I was sure. I confirmed. Next, I opened the auto loan portal for my dad's truck. Same story. My name listed as co-signer, my account as backup payment. I removed my bank information from that one too. Then from the Home Flex line. Then from the joint family savings account that had slowly become the pipeline from my paycheck to their bills. I printed out the forms to formally request removal as co-borrower on each account. Signed where it told me to sign. Tomorrow, I'd scan and email them in and call to make sure they'd been received. Technically, I was making several little moves, but they all boiled down to one thing. I was cutting the financial umbilical cord. I sat there for a moment, staring at the screens, my heart hammering. I half expected lightning, some alert saying, "You're a terrible son, nothing happened, just quiet." I opened my budget app and deleted the line item that had lived there for years. Parents' bills. $700 every 2 weeks minimum. I freed that number. I sat back and exhaled for what felt like the first time in years. I didn't text them about it. I didn't announce it in the family group chat. I didn't send a dramatic email. I just hit save and shut the laptop. Then I went and sat on the edge of Mia's bed for a minute, listening to her breathe. "You're my priority," I whispered, so low she couldn't hear. "From now on, it's you." Christmas Day was quiet. Jenna picked Mia up at noon to take her to her parents' house for a few hours. They're normal, awkward, Midwestern grandparents. They buy too many plastic toys and feed her too much sugar, but they never make her doubt if she's wanted. While they were gone, my phone started buzzing. First, a group text from Amanda. "Amanda, Joseph, what was that last night?" "Amanda, Mom has been crying all morning." "Amanda, You embarrassed her in front of everyone over a card. I put the phone face down, then a text from my mom. Mom, I don't know what came over you. Mom, we always do more for you than you realize. Mom, you hurt my feelings deeply, Joseph. On Christmas, of all days, nothing about Mia. Not a word. Mark chimed in too. Mark, bro, you overreacted. Mark, Mom was trying to be sentimental. We're the ones with kids who need help. Right. I didn't respond. Instead, I stripped the sheets off my bed, put on a load of laundry, and made myself a grilled cheese. It felt almost obscene how normal the day could be when I wasn't running triage on their crises. The real fallout didn't start until December 28th. That was their mortgage due date. At 9:17 a.m., my phone rang. Mom flashed on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, a text. Mom, the mortgage payment bounced. The bank is saying the backup payment account is unavailable. Did something happen? I replied once, for the first time since we left their house. Me. I removed my bank accounts from your loans. The typing dots popped up immediately. Mom, why would you do that? Mom, we're a family. Mom, you know we've been behind. The bank is being unreasonable. I stared at the screen. Me. I'm done funding people who humiliate my child. She didn't respond for 2 hours. Then, Mom, so you're going to make us homeless over a misunderstanding. There it was. The escalation. By January 2nd, the bank had logged their third missed mortgage payment in a row. I know because my dad called me at work. I shouldn't have answered, but the number popped up while I was between calls and muscle memory won. Yeah? I said. What did you do? He barked. No hello. I'm at work, I said. I can't. The bank is threatening collections, he snapped. They said the co-borrower requested removal and cut off the automatic payments. They mean you. That's correct, I said. How could you do that to us? He demanded. We've always been there for you. My headset beeped softly, warning me I had another customer queued. I clicked pause on the queue. My heart was pounding, but my voice came out strangely calm. You haven't been there for me, I said. You've been on my payroll. You've been perfectly happy to take my money while treating my daughter like she's disposable. That card was supposed to be meaningful, he said. You're twisting it. It was empty, I said. Like how you treat my kid. Silence. Then he said, you have a responsibility. The bank said you're still attached until they approve the changes. If this goes to collections, it hits your credit too. I know, I said. I've decided I'd rather take that hit than keep letting you use me. You ungrateful. I hung up. My hands were shaking so badly that I had to take my 15-minute break just to breathe. I went outside, leaned against the brick wall, and stared at the gray sky. One of my coworkers, Sam, stepped out to smoke and raised an eyebrow. You okay? He asked. My family's house of cards just fell over, I said. He nodded like he actually understood. Maybe he did. Sometimes that's the only way they realize it wasn't solid, he said. The calls didn't stop. My mom tried guilt. Mom, we counted on you. We always thought you'd step up as the oldest. Mom, your sister and brother can't help us. They have families. I stared at that one for a while. Me? I have a family too. Her name is Mia. She's 9. You made her cry on Christmas. She didn't respond. Amanda tried manipulation. Amanda, look, Mom messed up the card, okay? Amanda, but you're going nuclear. The bank called Dad at work. He's a wreck. Amanda, Noah heard him yelling and is scared. Is that what you want? I blocked her. Mark tried logic. Mark, you know if they default, it messes up your credit too, right? Mark, you're screwing yourself over just to make a point. He wasn't entirely wrong. My credit score would take a hit if they defaulted before the bank processed my removal. But I'd run the numbers. Worst case, my score dropped. I'd live. I wasn't planning to buy a house anytime soon. I could ride it out. Mia's sense of self was more important than my FICO score. I didn't reply to him either. The only person in my family who didn't come at me swinging was my younger cousin, Leo. He texted me 2 days after New Year's. Leo, hey, I heard about Christmas. Me, let me guess. I'm the ungrateful villain. Leo, actually, Mom said she'd have walked out too. Leo, I always wondered why you were the one paying for everything anyway. We ended up talking on the phone that night. I told him more than I'd told anyone. About the loans, the spreadsheet, the "your gift is knowing we love you" card. He whistled low. Dude, he said, they've been treating you like a walking ATM. Yeah, I said. I let them. Still, he said, cutting them off doesn't make you a bad son. It makes you a decent father. That sentence lodged itself somewhere solid in my chest. The bank thing dragged out, obviously. Removing a cosigner isn't instant. It took emails, phone calls, and a blunt conversation with a loan officer who straight up told me, "We'll review your request, Mr. Miller, but if the primary borrowers don't qualify a loan, they may have to sell or refinance with someone else. In the meantime, you're still on the hook for the delinquency on record." I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. I understand, I said. I'm still requesting removal. He paused. Most people don't follow through once they understand the impact, he said. Most people's parents don't weaponize Christmas, I replied before I could stop myself. He actually laughed. Fair enough, he said. My parents tried one last tactic: showing up. It was the second week of January, a Saturday. Mia and I were sitting at the kitchen table working on a puzzle she'd gotten from Jenna's parents when there was a knock at the door. The heavy, familiar knock that said, "We know you're in there." Mia looked at me, eyes wide. "Is it them?" she whispered. "Probably," I said. "Do I have to talk to them?" she asked. "No," I said. "You don't have to do anything you don't want to with them." She nodded, almost relieved. I opened the door just enough to block the view behind me. My mom stood there in her good winter coat, hair perfectly styled. My dad loomed behind her, jaw tight. "Joseph," my mom said, like the last 3 weeks hadn't happened. "We need to talk." "I don't," I said. My dad pushed forward a little. "The bank said you can still make payments," he said. "You don't have to be on the account to help us. You can just transfer the money like before until things get sorted." There it was. Not "we're sorry." Not "we hurt your daughter." Just keep paying. "I'm done," I said. My mom's eyes flashed. "You don't mean that," she said. "We're your parents. You're adults who made choices," I said. "One of those choices was to humiliate my kid in front of the whole family while you handed out money I helped you keep. That's not what happened," she snapped. "You're twisting." "You gave Amanda $8,000, I said. "You gave Mark a laptop. You gave me a card with a sentence and nothing else. Mia cried. None of you comforted her. You called me dramatic and said I was ruining Christmas." My dad shifted uncomfortably, but he didn't deny it. "You're overreacting over one mistake," my mom said. "You're going to let your own parents lose their house over a hurt feeling?" "It's not one mistake," I said. "It's every birthday you forgot her. Every cheap gift while you spent hundreds on the real grandkids. It's years of taking my money and treating me like a backup plan instead of a son. You owe us," my dad said quietly. "We raised you." "You did your job," I said. "I'm doing mine now. I'm raising my kid, and my job is to protect her from anyone who makes her feel less than, even if that's you." My mom's mouth opened and closed like a fish. 0 words. "We'll pay you back," my dad tried. "If that's what this is about, we'll pay every cent. Just help us right now." "It's not about the money," I said. "It's about the fact that you don't see what you did as wrong. Not once have you said sorry to her." My mom rolled her eyes. "She's a child," she said. "She'll forget." Mia heard that. I felt her appear behind me, small and stiff. I looked at my mom. "She won't," I said. "And neither will I. You are off my accounts. I am not your backup bank. If you need help, call your other kids or call a financial counselor. But do not knock on my door asking for money again." My mom's face hardened. "If you walk away from us," she said, "don't come crawling back when you need us." "I've never needed you more than you needed my debit card," I said. Then I shut the door. She tried the handle once, like she didn't quite believe it was over, then let go. Mia slipped her hand into mine. Are we in trouble? She asked. No, I said. We're free. It wasn't like everything magically got better overnight. Money didn't suddenly rain from the sky just because I'd stopped spending it on my parents. I had to rebuild my budget. I had to call the bank and keep pushing on my removal requests. I had to accept that my credit score would be ugly for a while because of their missed payments. But there was this space now, room I hadn't had before. Instead of $700 going out every 2 weeks for family, I had it available for us. I signed Mia up for the Saturday art class she'd been eyeing for months. It was $95 for 6 weeks. I felt weirdly guilty when I clicked register, like my mom was going to pop out of the closet and tell me it was irresponsible. She didn't. Of course. I put $300 into an actual emergency fund with my name on it. No cosigners. No joint anything. I bought Mia new snow boots without checking my parents' due dates first. Little things, quiet things, add up. Extended family picked sides slowly. Leo and his parents started inviting us over more. Mia found out she liked Aunt Claire's dog and that Leo made good hot chocolate. They asked about her art. They listened when she talked. Amanda and Mark went radio silent unless they were posting vague memes about loyalty and ungrateful people on Facebook, where everyone knew exactly who they meant. My parents kept playing victims. I heard through the grapevine that my mom was telling people I'd abandoned them when they needed me most. She conveniently left out the part where she used my child as a prop in her hurt feelings. Jenna noticed the change, too. One night when I dropped Mia off, she watched our daughter skip up to her front door in her paint-splattered hoodie and new boots. Then she looked at me. She seems lighter, Jenna said. Did something happen with your folks? I hesitated, then told her. The envelopes, the card, the loans, the boundary, she swore under her breath. I always knew they didn't treat her right, she said. But that's next level cruel, Joe. Yeah, I said. I let it go on for too long. She put a hand on my arm. You stopped it, she said. That's what matters. We spent the next Christmas at my place. By then, the bank had finally processed my removal from the HomeFlex line and the truck loan. The mortgage was messier. They had to refinance with a higher interest rate and a smaller house after they sold. They landed in a cramped rental outside of town. I found out because Leo texted me a picture of the for sale sign in front of the old place. Leo, guess your dad finally learned the bank doesn't accept guilt as currency. I felt, weirdly, nothing. I didn't celebrate their loss. I didn't gloat. They'd backed themselves into that corner long before I stepped away. My money had just delayed the pain. On Christmas Eve, I set up our small artificial tree in the living room. Mia hung every ornament like it was delicate crystal. There was one new one this year, a little clay heart she made herself, painted blue with the words, Me and Dad, on it. We invited Leo and Aunt Claire over, plus Jenna's parents, who shockingly said yes. It was messy and a little awkward, but real. I baked frozen lasagna. Jenna brought salad. Claire showed up with way too many cookies. The kids yelled over each other. Someone spilled juice. The smoke alarm went off once. At one point, Mia disappeared into her room and came back holding a folded piece of paper. She handed it to me. Inside was a drawing of our apartment, windows glowing yellow, snow falling outside. Inside the window, 2 stick figures, one bigger, one smaller, both with smiles. Underneath, in her careful handwriting, Thank you for loving me. My throat closed up. This is the best present I've ever gotten, I said. She smiled, shy but proud. You're going to keep it, right? She asked. For the rest of my life, I said. I put it in a frame the next day and hung it by the front door. There were 2 empty chairs at the table that night, literal ones. I'd pulled them out in case anyone else came. They stayed empty. For once, the emptiness didn't feel like a wound. It felt like a boundary, a clear line around what we would accept and what we wouldn't. As the night wound down, Leo helped me stack plates in the sink. He nudged me with his elbow. You know, he said, when Grandma tells the story, you're the villain. Figures, I said. He shook his head. To the rest of us, he said, you're the guy who finally turned off the tap. And honestly, About time. I laughed, tired but lighter than I'd felt in years. Later, after everyone left and Mia was asleep, I stood in the doorway looking at that framed drawing. I thought about my parents' card from the year before. Your gift is knowing we love you. Blank. Conditional. Weaponized. They'd offered me words with nothing behind them. This year, I'd chosen something else. I chose a kid who didn't have to sit in a room and watch her father be publicly told he was worth less than a laptop. I chose a life where my money went to our safety and her joy instead of patching up someone else's bad decisions. I chose us. And for the first time, that felt like enough.